On this episode of TVW at Large, we ventured all the way up to Hurricane Ridge, where a former three-term governor of the state of Washington was being honored. During a sunny Friday morning at Hurricane Ridge in Olympic National Park, the Olympic Wilderness received a new name.
Well, the reason that the wilderness area here, which used to be called the Olympic Wilderness, has been renamed through an act of Congress in honor of Daniel J. Evans is because he was one of the most instrumental individuals back when the wilderness areas in the state were created back in the 1980s.
Situated in a picturesque setting, the event began with a blessing from the Makah tribe.
When you see this snow, what becomes of snow? It turns into water. Water is life, and it touches many people in this world.
Following the blessing, speakers illustrated the contributions they felt former Governor Evans has made to the Evergreen State.
Our state is proud of you and Nancy and your family. You've been a great leader and someone who we have the greatest respect for.
When it came to protecting our most precious outdoor spaces, it wasn't about Democrats and Republicans, it was about Washingtonians. Yours, sir, is a legacy that has shaped our state and also shaped future generations of elected leaders who now carry the charge of environmental stewardship forward.
I think of countless remarks I've heard from Democrats and Republicans and independents who hold up the integrity of Dan Evans as the gold standard that we should all emulate. It's the kind of integrity we can use more of in our politics. He's an example to all of us, an example of character and service and bipartisan statesmanship.
Thank you for making sure that our natural resources cross all of the boundaries and bind us together, not just this generation, but future generations. Thank you so much, Dan, and it's so great to honor you today.
Following other remarks, former Governor Evans had the opportunity to speak.
I'm grateful to all who worked hard to make this happen, and it brings back memories of hundreds of hikes and several thousand miles of trails that I've enjoyed in the Olympic Mountains.
Immediately following the ceremony, Evans spoke to TVW expressing gratitude.
It's remarkable. I didn't expect to still be alive to have something like this happen, but the words were just remarkably wonderful as far as I was concerned, and I'm not going to give the name back, even though I'm still alive to hear it. The Olympics hold a very special place for me. It was 77 years ago that I first set foot on a hike in the Olympics, and the last time was yesterday. So that's a great span, and it's an absolutely spectacular national park.
Finally, as Evans mentioned during his remarks, he believes in living the hiker's creed.
The old hiker's creed is a pretty good one. It says, leave your campsite better than you found it. And I think that's what we all ought to do, is try to leave, when we have finished our life, look back and say, well, we have helped contribute to a better planet than we saw when we came. It's also really important to know our history and learn from it. And wilderness is what we began with. It's what refreshes our soul. It's an experience that every human being ought to have, a chance to experience the wilderness and just shuck away all of the human and artificial influences.
Also on hand for the event was former Washington Secretary of State Ralph Monroe, because, as luck would have it, Hurricane Ridge is one of his favorite places. That's going to do it for this episode of TVW at Large. As always, I'm your host, Dave Martinson.
Support for TVW at Large provided by the Washington Forest Protection Association and by the Arcora Foundation.